Hi y'all. Okay, it's Macy here, and we're doing Tricky Clover Creations Corner, where I'm gonna teach you DIYs, and today's DIY is going to be a sock snake. Now, every sock snake is special. One of them might be thick, one of them might not. One of them might got buttons, one of them might got silly little googly eyes. It's all up to you. For our sock snakes, what you will need is some needles, some string, scissors to cut, obviously, some type of eyes. I have buttons and googly eyes. You can also use a marker, you can use paint, use whatever you have. Be creative with it. That's what this whole channel is about. Some pink felt for a tongue, some fabric will work. Some paper I bet would work too. Again, be creative. And then I have stuffing, but for these two, I've used old fabrics before. So just like cut up an old short that you don't wear. You can just use extra fabric you got a million years ago and will never use. Anything works if you can't tell. And most importantly, you obviously need socks. You know someone in your house has to have an old sock drawer. You go look for yours and raid their sock drawer while I'm going to look for my sock. I think I'm going to do this one because I feel like a long sock today and I like the color blue. Now that you have your sock, you're going to stuff it. For me, I'm going to use Poly-Fil, whatever this is. You can get this at any craft store. But again, these are filled with old fabric and t-shirts I cut up. You can use anything. Be creative with it, y'all. So, just gonna grab a handful of it. I want to make mine thick. So, I'm gonna make sure to stuff the butt really good. Because I can. That takes a really long time. But I'm going to listen to my favorite artist, Miko. I'm gonna listen to Bad No. Underrated song. Give my boy some love. Okay, so I'm just finishing stuffing him. Make sure to leave some space to close it. For me, I don't need that much space because I'm just going to sew it shut. But if you don't know how to sew, you can ask someone to help you. You can use safety pins. You can hot glue it. You can even tie it. So if you're going to tie it, I would leave around 3 inches. But I feel like for everything else, you probably just need around 1 inch, maybe a little bit less. I'm not precise. Again, you do you, boo. If you're like, oh, the shape isn't perfect, yada yada, look at mine. He is kind of thick and kind of skinny at some parts, and we love him for that. The quirkier, the better here. Like I said before, I'm going to hand sew it, if I can get my needle out. If you don't know how to sew, then I'm going to teach you how to hand sew today. All you need is a needle and some thread. First thing you're going to do is put the thread inside that little hole in the needle, and then you're just gonna drop it, and you depending on the thickness of your snake, like on this part, you're just gonna, ooh, it's spinning. You're just gonna put it in like a middle of a string and then cut it. For me, I grab the needle and then I fold it like this because you're gonna need to fold it. So there's 2 strings. And then from there, you go to the end of the strings. I like to lick my fingers a little. And then I pull it there. And then I spin it around, if I can get it. Then I spin it around my thumb. And then I spin it around my thumb. And then you just kind of wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. And then act like you did a knot because these want the same lengths. Make sure they're the same length at the end. I forgot to do that. This is very professional if you can't tell. Then spin it around your fingers and just kind of rub them, rub them, rub them. And then once you make a little knot, then you did it right. If that little thumb thing is confusing to you, because it's confusing to me at first too, then you can just sew. You can just knot it like how you knot your shoes. Just do that like 3 or 4 times, and then you should have a knot that's kind of thick. And then from there, you need to stuff the stuffing back out. Sometimes it wants to escape. And then you're going to take the needle and start from the inside corner, like there, and then thread it all the way through like there. You probably want to cut your ends. It doesn't really matter though, because it's going to be on the inside, but I'm going to do it because I'm kind of perfectionist sometimes. And then from there, you're just going to sew in one side and then sew to the other like that. And then you're going to do that all the way across. So do you want to pause? And then when you do it, it doesn't have to be perfect. I made a snake for my friend. I bet it took me 5 times sewing the top to make sure it's all the way closed. The knots don't even have to be that close. As you can see, they're not that close. And it's still all the way sewn shut. And when you cut it, I forgot to say this. Don't cut the knot. That's very important to make sure the string actually stays. And remember, a little bit of quirkiness is a lot better than everything being so like machine looking made. The worst part is you probably will poke your finger if this is your first time. I still poke my finger, and I've been doing this for years. But it's fine. It's a learning opportunity, really. So, back to the actual lesson. Once you get to the end, I'm just going to go back a little bit so that I can make sure it's all nice, is the fancy word. So, I'm just going over this again until most of my string is gone. This one doesn't need to be as close to each other because it's just mostly there to make sure that everything stays nice and tight. As you can tell, mine's kind of far away. But then once you get to the end, you're going to want to make another knot. For me, I'm just going to use googly eyes because I feel like he's a googly eyes kind of person. But if you want to do button eyes and you want a tutorial for that, do a comment below and I'll do that. Yeah. So the googly eyes I have are already sticky. So I'm just going to place them on. But sometimes if they might fall off, you just add a little bit of hot glue to the back and then stick them back on. And then it does the same thing. I'm making mine different sizes because I think they look dopey like that. And yeah, that's how I do eyes. So now we're doing the tongue. For me, I'm using pink felt. But again, you can use extra fabric, you can use paper, you can even use a different sock and just cut it off. You can use whatever you want. Be creative. It could be long, it could be skinny, it could be whatever you want. Mine's a little bit too long right now, so I'm probably going to cut it short. But remember, it's your creation. Be creative with it. So for the tip, I'm going to make mine the classic snake tongue. So I'm going to just cut out a little triangle. And then I would think I want it that long. So that's going to be my tongue. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing here is perfect. So I'm just going to use needle and thread again. But if you're using like hot glue or safety pins and stuff like that, all you need to do is fold it. If you're doing glue, just put a little dab there. And then put it wherever you want on your snake. Once you have your needle and thread, you're going to find where you want to put your tongue. And then you're going to go in on the back of it and stab up. And then from there, you're going to grab your tongue and place it on the needle on the side. And then all you're going to do is pull it up like that. And then from there, all you do is go down, grab it on the underneath part, and then go through. There's a knot. All you're going to do is grab some of the tongue, grab some of the sock, and then just pull the needle and thread through. And then you have one of the stitch, and then just go through until you did that for the whole tongue. You just tie it off like we did the first time, and then you're all done. You just tie the knot for the little tongue, and then you're done, and you got yourself a little sock snake. If you're like me, I need to name every single thing I own. Like, his name is Thick Snake. Her name is Neapolitan Snake. Very creative, I know. So, while looking at him, I was thinking, what name screams him? And it happened. Steve. Thank you. I know. Don't need applause. So, Steve, the quirky thick snake, is done. What's your snake's name? Hope you guys like this episode of Tricky Clover Creations Corner, the DIY corner where I teach you stuff. If you make a snake, make sure to take a picture and tag me below with its name if you named it. Remember, the quirkier, the better. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and obviously YouTube with the same username, Tricky Clover Creations. Bye, guys!